Alright, this is like the third or fourth video I've done of the night, but by God's grace, I can God first do as many as I want to on this phone because this phone has tons of free storage. So again, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, as my friend texts me all this stuff, I can assure you that, as I said plenty of times before, one of the top things that I you again pride myself very much in is integrity, respect, morals, and more. What I'm more disturbed about is how I know how to, preach. What I'm more disturbed about. What I'm more disturbed about is how I know how to preach this stuff better than a lot of our school staff and administration and more. That's what I'm more disturbed about is how I know how to preach this more than they do. You know, and again, with this being said, again, I got so much music coming, so much music in 2020 coming that is going to preach so much love, so much character, so much respect, so many causes, so many families. And again, I can tell you that it's evident that, again, some of these parents are not raising their kids, and that's one of the top things that I want to do through my music. I want to be the raiser of these kids through my music. Because trust me, the same incident that my friend just explained to me that happened at Valley Ridge with some bullying, I know what's going on in Nice since I left. It was there when I was there, and I tried what I could to once again go out my way to talk to the people about it and get things smoothened out. But I know what's happened. I know what's happened since I left. I know it has, and I know for a fact, or I believe this for a fact, that of course the administration or the dean or whoever else didn't do anything about it. I know they didn't. And trust me, that disgusts me. Like I said before, we're not number one if that's true. We're not number one if we're just sweeping bullying under the rug or just ignoring it as if that doesn't matter. And that's just what I'm talking about, and I'll tell everybody, in the future and in this video, I love representing Nice and Valley the way I do, because if I did not represent it the way I do, I can assure you, who am I kidding? People have told me how much a good impact I've had on them, and I can assure you, if I didn't represent the way I do, nobody would care about these schools. That's literally what it is. Nobody would care, and some people don't care regardless whether I represent it or not. Some people don't care. But I can assure you, if you want to know, again, how I got into this ambassador stuff, because once again, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to representing our schools as proudly and boldly and passionately as I do, the way I got into it was more so the fact being back in my junior year of Nice High School, I realized how, I think it was the 2015-2016 school year, I believe so. What I realized, yeah, it was definitely that school year. What I realized was how someone tell me why you have to go to college in order to finally enjoy school. Like what that means is why people have so much college pride. People have so much pride in their freaking colleges. Somebody explain that to me, why you have to pay all this expensive money for an expensive degree that might not get you an expensive job. That means a high paying job, just to end up back in fast food where you started, but yet everybody's taking so much school pride in. I went to that school, I went to state, we did all this, and so on and so on and so on. Now, money definitely buys a lot of these college luxuries, but someone explained to me, literally, rationally, how in God's name, somebody explained to me how in God's name we have so much college pride, but we have literally no, at least from what I know, we have no middle school pride and no high school pride. Now, I would definitely love to say, what about elementary school? Elementary school, for the most part, I'm not going to say it doesn't count, but it just takes care of itself. Like I say, elementary school pride takes care of itself, almost like college pride takes care of itself. And if anybody want to understand what in the world does that mean, you're in elementary school. You don't know much about life. You learn everything is, you're just now learning shapes. You're learning how to add, subtract, multiply. You don't know too much yet because you're again at those baby ages. Even if you're in 5th grade, you're still at a baby age where you're still, again, you don't know much of anything about anything, and you're still just learning, building, growing, and developing. Now, that's not to say in middle school you know everything, because again, you're just as almost, dare I say, lack of knowledge as you are in elementary school. Only difference is still, middle school is something you're only in for 3 years, like in college, not college, like in high school, you're only in for 4 years. Or at least you're supposed to be only there for 4 years, all depends. So what that means in return, ladies and gentlemen, is that elementary school pride, because you're not really, because again, there's a lot of, at least from what I know, a lot of early childhood education parents or teachers. I'm losing my track of how more I want to explain this, but it's more so of saying elementary school really does. I mean, as long as you know how to, I'm not gonna say as long as you know how to be like goo goo gaga. I'm not gonna say that, but I'm definitely gonna say, even I just said it. I'm definitely gonna say as long as you know how to explain some of these subjects in baby terms to an extent, or up to that child's speed in K through 5. You know, as long as you know how to explain some of those things. And I mean, I can't even explain it other than the fact that elementary school pride takes care of itself. I really cannot explain it other than elementary school pride takes care of itself. I really cannot explain it. I mean, you're not going to find an elementary schooler writing a school review. That's probably the best way I can explain it. You're not going to find an elementary schooler writing a school review. That's what it is, at least the way I interpret it. You're not going to find an elementary schooler writing a school review. That's literally what it is. That's literally what it is. Partially what I mean about elementary school pride takes care of itself. You're not going to find elementary schools writing school reviews. You're just not going to find that for the most part. And other than that, it's more so the discussion of, you're not going to find other than that, it's like, for example, with elementary schoolers, it definitely is all about beautiful colors, beautiful shapes, or fancy shapes, and I can't really even explain again, forgive me if any elementary school kids are watching this and are like, Nate, what are you trying to explain? I know what I'm trying to explain. I just don't know how to fully explain it to you. I really don't. But I just know elementary school pride takes care of itself, because everything is so blissfully simple. Let's put it that way. Everything is so blissfully simple for the most part in elementary school. That's what it is. And I don't mean blissfully simple as in God bless your teachers. I don't mean your jobs are blissfully simple. But I mean in terms of explaining, adding, and subtracting 1, 2, 3. That's what I mean. Of everything is blissfully simple with, again, playful colors and whatever else, playful colors, great art designs, you name it. That's what I mean by everything is so blissfully simple for the most part in elementary schools, which is ironic, because if I'm talking about it like I'm talking about it, why don't I just go be an elementary school teacher? But that's just not, that's not the age group that I want to be around. In terms of teaching, because I mean, yeah, in terms of, I don't know. Okay, forgive me, elementary school kids, I love you. Trust me, I'm not wearing this youngling shirt for nothing. I love you. But the age group that I think I'll be the most effective with my mentoring is not elementary schools. I think I would be more effective with the middle schools and the high schoolers. That's just me, in my opinion. But trust me, I will show you all the same love and respect always. That's how I am. That's what I believe, and so on and so on. But I think, again, the gritty point that I'm trying to make there, ladies and gentlemen, is school pride with elementary school to an extent, like college. It's also like saying elementary school, what are you worrying about other than your juice boxes and such, to an extent. In elementary school, what are you worrying about other than your, juice boxes and animal crackers? Wow, I hope I'm not offending a bunch of elementary schoolers saying this. Everything's just blissfully simple, okay? Everything's just blissfully simple. You're not worried about politics. That's probably the best way to explain it. In elementary school, you're not worried about a bunch of politics, okay? You're not worried about politics, and I want to say you are worried about being liked. But you're not worried about politics. That's the best way. You're not worried about politics, okay? You're not worried about politics. That's one of the best ways I can put it. In elementary school, you're not worried about politics. Whew. I do not know what in God's name I'm doing right now. I mean, I've explained it in so many different ways, and I think I embarrassed myself in one of them, if not all of them. But you guys get it, don't you? Please tell me you get it, please. Okay, but yeah, college pride, I don't get it. I don't understand. You're paying all this money to take all these expensive garbage classes that you don't garbage want or garbage need, but you definitely need to, and I mean need to, like, just succeed in life. But you definitely need it for this garbage career that you probably might not be fully interested in, but you're just doing because you just want to go and get out, and so on. And it's just weird. It's really, really weird. It's really, really weird. College pride is so weird. It is just super weird. College culture is super weird too. But college pride is super weird. It is super, especially when you go to some of these colleges, and like I said before, of course, the powerhouses are football and, yeah, some basketball. Or obviously, well, football brings in more of a lot of heck. That's a ooh. What's it called? College. No, yeah, because I saw the Fox Sports poll where it said, "Dang, college is with football. College football is that's what's making these universities tons of dough, like millions, if not close to billions of dough, hundreds of millions, I guess. That's what's making them a lot of dough. Is football, and like Tim Tebow said, basketball takes care of itself. You know, not the same powerhouse as football, but it takes care of itself, obviously. And the football team definitely funds every other sport of that university. Every other sport, except for basketball. Every other sport of that university. And that also explains why when you go to these games of soccer and lacrosse, and you don't really see many people in those stands. That kind of explains why you don't really see many people in those stands. And even if you expanded, you still wouldn't see them. I don't think so. That's just me. I don't know. I know I study college sports, but dang, let me get back to the beginning. I don't know. But yeah, that's I've watched a lot of college sports, and I can assure you, with every you can see a packed house with boys basketball and football. You won't see a packed house with, depending on what school you go to, you won't see a packed house with girls basketball. You won't see a packed house with lacrosse. You won't see packed house with I guess track and field. You won't see a packed. I guess I don't really know. You won't see a you won't see a packed house with a lot of the other sports they offer. You just won't. You know, you definitely just won't. And that explains why, to an extent, why you don't have a ton of other professional leagues and you know, in our country to an extent. And while the NPF is struggling mightily. But I'm going to be a reviver of that. Or just start on my own. I don't know. But to continue in that, ladies and gentlemen, school pride with high school and middle school. I went to Allen Denice High School, and like I said before, St. John's County School District is the #1 rated school district in this state. And I can't live with that, knowing that we're not up to #1 with student happiness. Because I can assure you, that has got to be the backbone of the reason we're #1. That's got to be the core of the reason we're #1. Everything else should be a perk. Like everything else should be, you know, something that just came with being #1, I guess. You know, like if you were to put #1 in categories, I guess you could say. The core is student happiness. Everything else is a branch of student happiness. That's a part of what I'm saying. You know, because of student happiness, IB's numbers are through the roof. Because of student happiness, all these other academies are through the roof. You know, because of student happiness. That's the core. Because people want to come to school. They want to learn. They want to frolic around. They want to interact and more. Rather than they're saying this place is a jail, this place is hell, get me out of here. And I say that because, again, I read the reviews. And also around, by the way, and so on. And I read that within too many middle school and high school reviews is that the school is hell, nobody cares, the school is jail, get me out of here, I don't want to be here, and so many other things. You be amazed, bullying, everybody bullies, everybody curses, sells drugs, has inappropriate relationships, you name it, you name it, you name it. I've read it with a lot of schools, both public and private. I'm disgusted, I'm horrified. And what that also means is that when you ask these kids, these getting grassroots kids about their grassroots experience at these schools, they will tell you it was absolutely horrible. It was bias conformity all throughout, and the administration had their agenda, and if you didn't comply with it, you was negatively ostracized, and they didn't care about you. And for private schools, all they care about was the donors' kids. And again, I'm very annoyed with that. But again, it's like saying that's the reason why I became the ambassador, particularly for Nice and Valley Ridge, and really St. Charles County School District as a whole, because we are #1 and in this whole state, and we got to live up to that by student happiness being the core of that. I'm trying to, you know, put St. Charles County in that realm of that's why we're #1. That's the core of why we're #1, student happiness, and everything else is a branch of student happiness rather than student happiness being left for dead and everything else matters, you know, because you just want numbers, conformity, and money. Hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't, more videos coming soon explaining it. Your boy, the man, NJ to the city with the #1 TL. Hope I didn't embarrass myself too much, but if I did, hopefully you laughed a lot and you learned something God first from it. Peace.